everybody. Welcome to the Talk of the Town podcast, where each week we bring you valuable insight and information that directly affects our local business community. I'm Danielle Hawley, and I'm the executive director of the best chamber of commerce around, the Fontana Chamber of Commerce. And I'm proud to bring you our Talk of the Town podcast with my co-host, Mr. Carlos Garcia of FYI Technologies. Welcome, Carlos.
Thanks, Danielle. Happy to be here with you.
Well, this week we are mixing it up. And we are going to do something called our Candidates Corner. And I want to talk about the chamber and the stance that we've taken politically here, because we're not like a normal chamber. We're a cool chamber. But we are very involved politically. It's something that's very important to us, and it should be important to you if you're listening, because having a say in our decision-making process with our vote is so vital. You get to impact the decisions that are being made for you. How are your tax dollars spent? Who's representing you? All of those good things. So hopefully after listening today, you will see the value in getting more involved politically if you haven't done so already. But here at the Fontana Chamber of Commerce, we actually endorse our local candidates from our federal, state, all the way down to our local races. And so, Carlos, you're going to be our first candidate today in our Candidate Corner spotlight. You'll be in the hot seat, but really just want to bring on our candidates so that our voters can get to know you guys a little bit better and really understand why the chamber endorses the candidates that they do. And so obviously what we're looking for in a candidate is somebody who is business friendly, right? Are you going to pass legislation that makes sense for our business community, or are you going to pass legislation that hurts us or impacts us? So definitely the things that we are most concerned about here. But the chamber as well, if you guys didn't know, during election season we actually are a ballot collection point. So if you don't want to drive over to the ROV or down to City Hall, you can come right into the chamber and we will have a safe and secure ballot collection spot for you. They go to the ROV every single day. We personally take them and sign for them. They're safe and secure, but you can bring your ballots here. And also, if you're not sure how to register to vote, we can help you get registered to vote. So we care very much about our election process because it is important, because it directly impacts our business community. So we're going to get in today with our first candidate, Mr. Carlos, running for Senate District 29. So tell us, Carlos, a little bit about your campaign. I love your graphic. Let's talk about all this exciting campaign stuff.
So I appreciate the opportunity, Danielle. Politics was never really in my blood, right? So when I started even in council, for me, it was just one of those things that you can only sit back and complain, but not provide solutions or get involved, right? As we teach our kids, that's the other thing too, that we always want them to have a voice, right? And for me, it was one of those situations where an individual was actually helping the city, like picking up trash, and it was something positive, but people just started making it so negative for no reason. And so how it began is I started getting involved in community cleanups, helping this individual, making our city look better, and then started, getting to know more folks. More folks got involved. And then I was introduced a little bit more into politics, council, what's going on in our city, right? Like the things that we don't really even pay attention to, right? And so I started with I realized that there was no broadcast on city council meetings, and there was no broadcast on planning commission, so nobody really knew what was going on. And so once I found that out, I just started live streaming on Facebook on my own to council meetings. Started doing some of the other meetings as well, just broadcasting them live. Again, never thinking that people would get to know me because I was that videotape guy doing the council meetings.
Yeah.
But when the opportunity, I think for me, also came up was when, and I can relate this to a lot of folks, we get behind candidates who say one thing and do another, right? And that's pretty much what we all can agree to that to some extent, right? There are those good candidates. And that's actually what happened to us, right? We fought so hard for our candidate to get in place, and it was just a disappointment, when he got in place and he left the office. So I ran for that 2-year race initially. I'm going to make this short because I can go on and on forever on this. But, I got 43% of the vote against 3 other individuals the first time around. I just got reelected, ran a race unopposed, and I feel very blessed and fortunate. So I always joke, like, either I'm doing a fantastic job or you weren't not paying attention. I like to think that I'm doing a good job.
You're doing a great job over there in
Thank
Upland.
you. Thank you. So this came about now with, you know, I've been talking to folks, and for me, it's always been about making sure public safety is a priority, making sure our businesses are thriving. I began doing the Upland Business Community page to help our local businesses, provide marketing for them for free. A lot of them can't afford to do some of that. So this is also another point that I'm going to talk about in my campaign as well that I want to take it to district wide. So here we are. This opportunity came up to run for state senate, and for me, it's always been about giving. I always tell folks, don't ever call me a politician because we're going to end up fighting because I'm not a politician, right? I consider myself a servant leader, and why I say that is I'm here to serve, whether it's in this capacity or just everyday people, right? And I'll get a little bit more into that why I say that, but top priorities for me for this race is to make sure that our public safety increases, that our law enforcement has the support that they need, that our businesses continue to thrive, especially those mom and pop businesses that right now with all of these crazy laws that we have in place and criminals are closing down because it cannot afford to reopen, restock everything that folks are stealing or out of control. And also, more importantly, taking a look at making sure that we protect our wallets, our taxes. There's accountability in government that we're not wastefully spending. And I think there's a lot of things that we see currently. I mean, they're affecting, especially like the senior community who are retired, that they can't even afford half of the groceries that they used to be able to buy before. So things like that that are definitely was driving me to make that change in in District 29.
Let's talk about your district for a moment, because this is a newly created district that happened after the 2020 redistricting. We know we do the census every 10 years, and based off of our population, there's actually a board that comes together, the Citizens Redistricting Commission, and there's several entities that sit on that board and make the determination of where boundary lines are going to go and where representation goes. And so this district currently has no incumbent, correct?
Correct.
So it's an open seat. And for those of you listening and you're like, I'm not hip with politics, incumbent means somebody who's already a sitting elected holding that title in that seat. So this is a wide open, newly created district. And you are running against Eloise Reyes. And so there are two people in this race currently, and you've made it through the primary, and it's the two of you. So the way that this particular election works, there are multiple people on the ballot. The top two vote getters from the primary, which happens in March, go on to the general election, which happens on November 5th. And so you and Eloise are the ones that were the top two vote getters. So congratulations. Going on to the November election. So I just want to make sure everybody's clear. And this isn't like U.S. Senator. This is state Senate. So this is one of our two houses that we have within our California government. And then we also have Senate representation that goes federally. So just want to clear all of that up for all of our listeners. So let's talk about your district here, Senate District 29 in California. What does it look like?
Well, it's definitely a lot of ground to cover. And for those that are not familiar with what District 29 is, it covers cities such as Upland, Rancho Cucamonga, Fontana, Rialto, Colton, San Bernardino, parts of Redlands, Highland, a little bit of Grand Terrace. It does Bloomington. It does Muscoy as well too, and Loma Linda. So there's quite a bit of ground to gain. I think for this district, it's also important that that people understand that it's a brand new district. We have an opportunity to make change, to create something that's very unique and very special from the ground up. Unfortunately, with change comes sometimes a little bit of hesitation, but it could also be a very good thing. We can't continue to do the same things we've been doing that are not working and expect that this time around it's going to be different, because it's not. That's the reality of it. And I think we have a very unique opportunity, not only to educate our voters, but to come together in a more unified way, all of us, right? For me, it's not about a party preference. It's not about red. It's not about blue. This is about us. This is about us human beings, our communities, right? To be able to thrive. And who is going to be the better candidate that's going to represent those voices in the state Senate?
I love that. Some of the phrases that I keep hearing from you are common sense and public safety. Can you expand on those?
Absolutely. So let me tell you that right now I'm running as the public safety candidate. And why I'm running as the public safety candidate, because I am the only candidate in this race that's being supported and backed by all of the San Bernardino police chiefs, all the sheriff as well, including Sheriff Dykes. I've also been endorsed by PORAC, see by the Sheriff Association as well, and most of the POAs currently, such as Fontana, Rialto, also definitely San Bernardino POA, Redlands as well. I'm in the process of getting their endorsements, but the point to this is that law enforcement believes in what I bring. They know what I've done in Upland. I've been very supportive with our Upland POA as well. They were one of the very first endorsements. So that to me sends a message that I am about safety. And when it comes to common sense, it goes back to, if people are committing a crime, you have to do the time. It's just common sense, right? And when I talk about common sense politics is if something was happening to you as an individual, you're going to want law enforcement to be there for you, right? If a business is being robbed, you're going to want law enforcement to be able to give them the tools that they're going to arrest somebody and prosecute them to help their business as well too. I think the opposite is happening, right? It just seems that these crazy ideas that come out or these crazy ideas that are being pursued or enforced, it's not common sense. I think at the end of the day, if situations like that were to happen to a lot of our legislators personally, I think they would change their tune in the way they perceive things as well. So it's literally everything that's common sense is what we've got to work for and get back to as well.
I love that. Well, and you're a small business owner as well, and so you understand the impacts of legislation, and when it makes sense and when it doesn't make sense, but you feel it in your bottom line for sure, as our other listeners do as well. So can we sum up your platform as public safety and common sense, or do you want to expand? What truly is your platform?
So my platform is just basically getting back to common sense and making sure that public safety is a priority. Although public safety is one of the key pillars that I'm running for, I also want to make sure that we protect our wallets and do right by our residents with accountability for taxes as well. And also, like you said, support our business community, support our small business community at the backbones of our country. When I talk about in this race, I always tell folks, and even when I'm in council, it's whatever decision I'm going to make, keep in mind that I'm a resident first, a business owner also, and what affects you affects me as a priority. After that, then we can make educated decisions to policies that we can create at a higher level, whether it's council and now Senate as well too.
Yeah. And that's the truth, right? Some of these folks in Sacramento make these outlandish laws, and it's like, do you live under the repercussions of the laws that you're making? And I don't think that they do, because if they did, I don't think they'd second guess some of their stuff that they pass sometimes. But that's a whole different story. But I love that you're business focused, business minded. You are a business owner. You get it. You understand what types of laws, legislation, all of that, how that would impact our business community, which is why we as a Chamber of Commerce, our chamber board has rallied behind you and voted to endorse you and support you in this race, because we know that once you get to Sacramento, the decisions that you make are going to positively impact our business community. And that's so important to us here in the city of Fontana. And I wanted to just highlight again for everyone that's listening, do not miss the fact that he is the public safety candidate. That is huge, that you have the backing of all of the police chiefs in San Bernardino, within the county practically, it seems like, and Sheriff Dykes is endorsed you. I mean, this is huge. There's not, the other person in the race cannot say the same. So this is a very strong talking point that you have here, and really strong backing that you have to be able to say that. And so to me, being affiliated with and representing our business community, that's something that we think about, right? We want to know that our places of business are safe, and then just where we live, right? Where we live, where our children go to school, that everything is safe, because if our communities are safe, everything will prosper. And so I think that that's a huge accomplishment. Congratulations on all of those endorsements and being able to say that you're the public safety candidate. That's huge.
And Danielle, I'm going to tell you also, so I'm going to go back a little bit. I'm going to sidetrack here a little bit. It's a great honor that I'm able to say that, for folks and for law enforcement. But I want to also share a little bit as to why my passion is for law enforcement, why I do what I do for not only for our community, but everything that I've done in my life. So as some of you may know or may not know, I'm actually an immigrant. I came here when I was about 8 years old, from Nicaragua. I lived through the war as a kid, and I literally lived through the war, like ducking bullets, laying on, sleeping on the ground, things like that. When we left, it was my grandmother, my sister, and I, and they were trying to shoot our plane down. So I remember this very vividly as a kid, trying to leave our country to come here to the States. We didn't get to see my parents for like about a year. A year later, it came time for my parents to try to come over here. My mom was always handicapped. And the day that my parents arrived here, they gathered all of my dad's friends and colleagues and executed them in the plaza to make a point. That would have been my father, by a day. So by the grace of God, I sit here. I had my parents. They passed away almost a decade ago now. But the point I'm trying to tell you with this is that I love this country. When we came here, we had nothing. My dad worked as a janitor at a hospital. Cleaning toilets, it didn't matter, but he always provided food for us. We always had clothing. It was hand me downs or whatever it was. But the point of that was that throughout this childhood of mine and growing up, we always found people that wanted to help us. Right? They just wanted to help. They knew the situation. They knew our story. And so what I remember is just people wanting to help with no agenda. And that stuck to me as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's been my driving force in everything that I've done since then to be able to help. If somebody asks me for help, I will be the first one in, last one out, because that's how I was raised. That's how I was brought up. I've gone to school, and I will mention, I'm not saying this just to brag. I do have my bachelor's degree in IT. I do have my master's from Pepperdine. I do have a teaching credential from California State, San Diego as well. And what I'm trying to say is, even the kids that I teach, because I work with a lot of continuation high schoolers, and these are the tough kids that don't really have options or don't think they have options. Is I've always gotten to them to the point where it's like, remember, you're gonna be a leader someday, and that will happen. I am sure it's gonna happen. But I said, it's your responsibility when you get into these roles that you pay it forward, because nobody's self-made, right? We need a tribe to be able to help us, support us. And I think that's a driving message why I'm involved in politics. I love this country. I love everything about it. I love law enforcement because with no law enforcement, there is no peace. That's the bottom line. Our communities will continue to be in chaos if we don't continue to support law enforcement. And the point being that, we need to do change. And I'm willing to step up, and I need you, the voter, whoever's listening, to also step up and help support this campaign so we can finally see changes in our district.
I love that. You truly are the quintessential American dream. Coming to this country from nothing, war-torn, communist chaos, to land of the free, home of the brave, having your family here, holding office here, representing citizens here. And I personally know you, and I can attest to that. Carlos is the nicest guy, the friendliest guy. We'll give you the shirt off his back, but that's truly who you are, and that's why you're going to do such an amazing job as our next state senator in District 29, because you will not forget where you came from, and I feel like your decisions will be based upon that. What's the best decision for my constituents and the people that I'm representing? And I think that that's priceless. And you're going to do a phenomenal job when you win your election in November. So let's talk about that. So how can people get involved? The election's coming up. We're going to start seeing things heat up here.
I'm going to actually flash my my website on here on the screen. And if you guys can follow me visit the website. One of the key things that I need, that I would love your support, is I'm running this race, and this race is not about me. This race is about our community. So when I say that I'm running this race, this is about all of us getting involved. And how I can use your support is visit my website, follow me on social media, share my message out, call me, email me. Would love to do meet and greets for coffee. We can sit down in a group of folks, and you can ask any question that you want. What you see is what you get, folks. So I'm not here trying to impress you because I want this office. No, I just want the better change for all of us, right? So you can help me by going to the website, getting involved and volunteering, helping us with that. We definitely could use your donations. Even if it's $1, you'll still be part of this movement that we're creating that can help us move forward. So I look forward to really connecting with a lot of you folks out there that are just listening for the first time or getting to know me, who I am as a candidate as well.
Awesome. And if you're just listening and you can't see our screen, you're going to go to Carlos, the number 4, casenate.com. Carlos, the number 4, casenate.com. Check him out and find him. You're all over social media. Very easy to find. Carlos Garcia. And so thinking about, okay, elections, what, in 115 days, 20 days, something like that?
I think it's down to 102 or something like that. Yeah, so
Oh
we're getting
my God,
closer. Yeah.
quick. It's coming quick. So lot to pack in here before November 5th. What types of events and things do you have coming up?
So we are definitely planning a lot of coffee events to meet and greet the candidate. I would love to come and speak to neighborhoods. If you would open your house to do some meet and greets, that would also be very helpful. And we're definitely planning some additional fundraisers, but I would love for you to follow it on the website or on social media because that's where I do most of my posting for upcoming events. But the next few months are gonna be very busy, but it'll still give you an opportunity to connect with me and get to know who I am as a candidate.
I love it. And there's plenty of opportunities to get involved, whether you're into knocking doors, meeting new people, if you want to make phone calls, texting, there's plenty of opportunities. So reach out to Carlos. Again, he is a Fontana Chamber of Commerce endorsed candidate. So you can reach out to us as well, and we can get you connected to his campaign and get you plugged in. But we will be hosting more of our candidates on the Talk of the Town podcast as we get nearer to the election. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. Carlos, thank you so much for popping on today. Our chamber endorsed candidate for California State Senate District 29. We appreciate you guys tuning in each and every week to the Talk of the Town podcast. We will catch you guys next time.
All right. Thanks again, Danielle. I appreciate the opportunity.